All right, we are here. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today. It is your host, Laz, and the coach. How are you feeling, my man? And for some reason, coach is muted. One sec. We're going to figure this out. Gotta love the tech errors. I think we're back.
We're back. Check,
we're back.
1, 2, 1, 2.
We're back.
There we go. Back in business. I'm good, man. Good to be back on the microphone. Thanks for having me today, Laz.
Yeah, thank you so much as well for joining, and thank you, Counter Nature, for allowing us to have the pleasure of casting their match once again with absolute leverage. So let's just talk a little bit about both these teams. So you know what, Coach? Let's start things off. Let's go with Absolute. What can you tell me about them?
What's going on with Absolute? Well, cool with the way they've abbreviated their tags. So I think AVEL. I like that off the get-go. But tags aside, what have you got going on for them? So had a bit of a rough start. It's an okay start, I'd say. 5-5. So one lost, 5 apiece of the 10 games we've gone through so far this season, and they've lost the past 4 maps. And a bit of a loss streak right now. With that in mind, looking kind of damage and what have they been doing with their 3Ks, their 4Ks throughout the season. So with the stats, and I've got the stat board too, if you know what I'm looking down at here, people. I do my notes, do my homework before the game as well. The 3Ks, Maxwell, 3Ks this season, so one to watch out for. Kyle, highest fragger, 181 frags. So just give you a rough idea of what the frags are across the board. And for most of these players as well, they're about 10 frags apart, and they've only got 5 members on their team. So pretty tight-knit team. And to get to the nitty-gritty, the ones to watch is definitely Maxwell. And he's got an ace under his belt as well. So there's some talent here, and 5-5, I don't think that reflects the kind of frags we're going to see today. I think it's going to be a frag fest, frag city.
Gotta love the Frag City. And I mean, talking about the maps too, so it is going to be on Nuke. So a bit of a spectator's nightmare, but should be a good game nonetheless. And I mean, when we talk about, just Counter Nature, I mean, they have done a fantastic job on their season so far. So they're actually on I believe it's a 5 or 6 win streak in a row. So we mentioned it earlier on where they had a roster change and a few little bit of adjustments. And it just seems like it's completely been smooth sailing ever since then. A couple nail biter games, but you know what? That's the excitement part. But now they're hoping to maintain this lead once more to get that 6th in a row. And Nuke, it's definitely been an interesting path for them, and they seem like they've been pretty dominant so far, Coach.
Yeah, we have seen them play Nuke before, don't we? A couple of weeks ago, last week, I believe, and it was a great game. They've got their strats all sorted. They're like Batman with the utility belt. This, that, the grappling hook, the throwing stars. Don't have those in CSGO. Maybe one day CSGO too. But no throwing stars, but they've got all the other gadgets. So that's what counts. And if it's to be seen again today, that 5-5 might not be enough to contest with Counter Nature. So yeah, we'll see what happens when we get onto the pitch, onto the map itself.
Onto the pitch of Nuke. So we are just still waiting for a few more players. So we figured, you know what, guys, you can get to know us a little bit better. You get to see our faces, you get to see our socials. It's kind of a win-win, really. So, I mean, if you guys enjoy the show, you enjoy the channel, please throw a follow. We definitely appreciate it. It goes a long way for us on the channel and as well as on our socials. We like to be social. We like to use our stuff. And Coach is, he's getting up there. He likes to use his Twitter a little bit here, more and there now.
Definitely. 21 followers now. Woo! Step back, guys.
You
Watch
are
out.
on the climb. I like it. I really hope our goal is we can get you at least triple digits. I mean, end of the year would be awesome, but I'm gonna, it could be done.
That's a push, but I think we can do it. I think that's the goal that I can attest to, lads. We're live on air right now, and you've challenged me to get triple figures by the year. We can do it. It's a possibility. And talking to triple figures, there's a lot of tournaments we'll be casting for as well. YBC Go Valorant. It will say in the description for the channel here for @thecoach101 for Twitch and for Twitter. And pay attention. I will be trying to get on there, make a few posts of what's happening. And Laz is like, dude, come on, man. Let's you're casting these tournaments, and people have got to know. And there's actually some money and some good spots of tournaments we'll be casting and have been casting. So keep attention to either our socials, and hopefully there'll be something there to give you that red flag of what we could be up to.
Yeah, so it definitely goes a long way, ladies and gentlemen. So we do appreciate it. If you like it, and of course, no pressure at all, of course. But if you do enjoy it, make sure to just click that follow button. I mean, click like the subscribe button. But anyways, we are still waiting for a few more players. So we'll just talk a little bit more about these squads. So just talking a bit more about Counter Nature. Like I mentioned, they do have some pretty big highlight players. So I mean, Psycho, he's probably been one of my favorite players so far in this advanced season, and Xander, definitely one of those players as well. I definitely know who Spermy is. I've actually met him at a tournament as well, and I
There you go.
pronounce it's pronounced as Beaky. I hope I don't get this wrong, but Beaky. Wow. Definitely saw some big numbers when we were able to cast that Orion game. So that was a bit of a big staple as well.
It was, and we said it at Fragfest, and I use that word deliberately. Calculate decision. We've had a few games we've seen, and with Counter Nature, they have those really rhythmic games where it's a stomp, or they have those games where it's an absolute bloodbath and it's a blood bowl. So with the kind of records that we're seeing from both teams, a lot of the players they've put like I think 150, 160, 200 frags. And talking of Psycho and Counter Nature, yeah, they've been on a tear. I think they're is it 4 games on the streak right now or 3 games? So they're having a really, really good season. And with that being said, there's letting people like Psycho and Xander to make those plays, right? So it takes the whole team to get there, and teamwork makes the dream work, and they're showing it so far.
Yeah, they really have. And I mean, one of the biggest things to note about Counter Nature and just talking about their squad is like they really throw a lot of these surprise rounds where they do a bit of a deco buy. So that means like buying a Desert Eagle, a bit of a maybe a lighter purchase, but it just seems like you can never count them out. And I know explicitly on Inferno, we saw, I think it was Psycho picked up like a quad kill, single handedly opened up the round, and they actually picked it up, and then they were able to turn things completely in their favor when you just think it's not going to work out, but they definitely be that big surprise. So I'm looking forward to both teams and see what we're gonna find out on Nuke today.
Yeah, who's going to be the ace in the hole? And as we mentioned, you've got like 14 3Ks from just one player. There's another player with 10 3Ks. Quite a few people willing to go in those sort of 3 versus 1 situations, and it's stomachable. They do have the capability. They've got the aim. They've been practicing name labs and getting it sorted. So yeah, this game, Nuke, not a game that, or a map I should say, where you're like, oh, it's loads of frags on this map. But when you bring 2 teams like this to a strategic map, it makes it a bit quirky, a little bit quirky.
It really can. And I mean, Nuke is one of those, it's been around for a really long time. But one of the things about this map is it's not that puggy map. It's not the map that you can just kind of going in blindly. Like you need to know lineups, you need to know your smoke grenades, you need to have so much good utility usage. And it takes a lot of discipline on the CT side also. I mean, just talking about if you lose a member, I mean, there is quick rotations, but you need to be in the right spot at the right time because it can be milliseconds for a big change to happen.
It can be. You talk about right now, just for example, sort of BQL, we'll say BQL. We'll sure we get corrected in the chat if we're wrong, and that's what the chat is there for. Make sure you give us a little correction, a little jab in the jab, and it's like, hey, Laz, coach, that is not how you say his name. But with regards to him, where he just went, that squeaky defense push. Talking of milliseconds, if you fudge up, you drop the ball, you don't get that nade off or that pre-fire on squeaky, it's not GG, but you might have lost a round and it's been and gone like that. So yeah, things can change ever so quickly on Nuke, and those lineups, those pre-fires, you really better have done your homework like a caster with regards to where those people and those opposite players are going to be peaking. And VODs especially, you're looking for those smoke, those flash plays, the counter plays. It's all super important in a map like this or something like Overpass.
So we will be switching things over. As you can see on the game now, we have all the players connected, but we're just waiting for things to go live. So momentarily, we should be able to get things underway.
Yeah, get it going here midweek, and why not some decent level of CSGO it will be. And really, these players, they have been working super hard, and they're just over halfway through the season now, I do believe, Laz, if I'm not wrong on that. And they've had a bit of time to warm up, so they should be finding their stride here.
Yeah, so this is kind of the point now in the season where, I mean, we're getting pretty much well over that medium point, and now teams, they should be a bit more meshed. And that was kind of the one thing I wanted to talk about, with Counter Nature, is they did have, a bit of a roster change, and I'm not sure how many, but I do know they changed a few players. But the fact that they've been able to just completely turn it around has been very, very interesting, because we don't always see that with a roster change. I mean, even just one person alone can be such a big difference.
And that's a fantastic point, my dude. Worth mentioning, and I've seen many seasons of CSGO, whether it's been, it doesn't matter what level of it is either, that influential player that comes in and just changes a roster, that's special. And you're right, we have seen a couple, so I don't want to even put it to one player's performance or difference to change the team. It seems there's just been some sort of shift, and whoever's playing for Counter Nature, they're reading off the same page, aren't they? So yeah, kudos to Counter Nature. They've really been able to make things work, and truthfully, for like that last minute sort of sub out and getting that player in, you don't really expect anything from a team. You're like, oh, if they do well, great, but it's not really oh, they're gonna pop off now. That's not really the first thing you expect, is it, Laz?
No, it's really not, and I mean, just it will be interesting to see. Like we are just getting closer and closer to that end point. I mean, and you got to have a bit of a different record when you get into playoffs and things like that. And I think you were mentioning absolute leverage. They're at that bit point of being even, so we're gonna have to see if they can climb their way back. But Counter Nature have just had a very dominant season. I mean, I think they're 7-3 in advance, so they're definitely on the right path to making a really good playoff run.
Yeah, they're making a super strong performance, and I've seen teams like this before. And truthfully, when you've got that much of a difference and 7-3, that's quite a dominating performance so far. We're not just blowing smoke where smoke doesn't belong. It truthfully belongs with them right now. Is true. You can see it. The stats talk, math talks, and not even opinions worth coming to the table for that. So time will tell. And as mentioned, we do have 10 players in the server. Should be getting to the money knife round, and here it is. Blades are out, 10 blades awry, and who's going to get the knife round here, lads? Who's your money on, Doug?
You know, I'm going to go with Counter Nature. I mean, I'm going to be a bit biased, but I mean, I definitely think they've had a really good performance, and I think they can take this all the way. So I'm going to predict them to win the map, but I can't remember if they were very good knifers, but I think maybe that's the little bit of element surprise that they want to play. But let's hear it in the chat what you guys also think as well. Let's get some predictions on the board and see what you think. But Coach, where do you think this is going to go?
I think Counter Nature have got it. They've got some great positioning here so far, and we'll get things competitive from the get-go as well. BQ got a great flank here, and he's going in and looking pretty aggressive, a bit over-aggression, over-exertion, not going to land too well at all, and look at it all down to Kyle. Oh dear, not Counter Nature at all, and bet Teal would have been the correct suggestion there.
Looks like it pans out very well, but now things are going to be switched over. Counter Nature going to be taking the CT side. No surprise there, but for anybody just tuning in, this is ESEA Advanced in North America with your hosts, Laz and the Coach.
Let's go. Getting it going here, and as it will be, Counter Nature to be on the CT side. So yeah, that's a good place to be, and you're up so far in the season. You're on the defense on Nuke. You're feeling pretty cushy and happy on that.
You know, I feel pretty good. Like I feel like, you know, my predictions have been a little bit on point, but you know, you don't want to jinx it yet, but we'll have to wait and see. But talking about waiting and seeing, things are just already happening so quick inside this inner site, and somehow it's already down to a 2-on-2, Coach.
Just like that, and we talked milliseconds, and the proof is in the pudding. You hear it from us, and you see it in the round. Glocks versus the USPs, the two defaults. It will be the reactor Glock in the hands of SoulGoat here. The skin native to this map, and native it will be with headshots like that at 3K. Fantastic stuff, and he's definitely going to be the GOAT with shots like that. Headshot, you scream.
Yeah, the guy's just trying to mimic the one taps, and I mean, that was a big round from Absolute Leverage. I mean, the fact that they were just able to get that inner sight pretty much convincingly, they actually looked like they had a bit of a delay, having one member just lead the charge and having the HE to open the door, but a bit of a misplay from Counter Nature, a little bit off positioning, but we'll have to see if they can bounce their way back, but it looks like they might go for these outside stacks, and so this is just going to be above the heaven, or underneath the heaven, my apologies, and this allows for them to get that information on the outside, see what they can find, and then the T's are going to know immediately that they're there, but there is a possibility they could be the element of surprise.
So what I've seen is it'll be a good stack here from Counter Nature, able to trade out one frag, and with that in mind, not too much else they could do. The P250 Galil to be picked up by Spermy, so they have something to say. Galils and AKs and umps all over the server. There's still more blood to be shed.
Still early on, and a lot of damage is afflicted against Absolute Leverage, but they actually decide to go into the lower site. And Spermy able to pick up this Galil, but he might not try to go for it. Counter Nature, they don't need to at this point. I mean, if they can pick up another weapon, that's a huge success, but instead it looks like they are just going to be playing this quite passive and maybe potentially looking for a secret exit if possible. But at this round, they've done a little bit that they can do, but after Absolute Leverage, going to be picking up that second round.
Yeah, they come out the gates hot there, and they're off. It's like the horse race with the English announcer going, not horse racing here. This is CS:GO that you're seeing advanced as well as we get these exits coming at us here. And I was literally about to say, and Xander proved me wrong before I even had the chance to speak the words there, lies. Like, we're 24 HP, might be worth a go to go for that sort of aggro exit play, and he made it happen. 2 P250 kills. That's gonna give him a nice little bit of extra bank. He could even get an up. He's choosing not to, but just to talk about options, that's a really good play there.
Yeah, really, really good play. And like you said, they could go for that option if they wanted to get the op, but instead they decided to go for the rifles. So not a bad call on a map like Nuke. I mean, an op can definitely be the big tool for success, but instead they want to see what they can work with on the rifles, but actually can already have outside being pushed. And now they're already pushing connector, coach. They're already getting so much control.
So fast, and they've got the speed boots on the Nikes plus. I don't know what's happening here. Counter's being caught awry and not able to respond to Og. Also attempting the spray transfer. Great attempt there. Not going to work out for Psycho trying to flex those frags. 2 versus 1 all on Beacon. Not able to wow us or his opponents. It's going to be through in the ball for Absolute. They're leveraging some wins here. Considering what we've seen for the 5 and the 5 for their season start, this is new. This is strategy. They're showing some really good executes.
Yeah, they really are. And I mean, the one thing that they've done very successfully is the fact that they're just kind of putting this pressure. They're getting the inside control right away. In Counter Nature, they almost seem like they're a bit off on their timing. So it just seems to catch them at the worst opportune time. So Absolute Leverage are already showing a very dominant T side, picking up the first 3, now putting Counter Nature back onto the save. And like I said before in the pregame, I mean, they do have the Deagle, so you can never count them out. But you never know at this point.
You don't, and slowing it down will be Absolute Leverage. So I've probably got an inkling, and Counter Nature, if they've watched even just one VOD, you can see what their decos are like, and you did give it that spotlight it deserved, and it's almost a signature move, isn't it, for Counter Nature with the counter deg play.
Yeah, the Deagles are pretty much like an extra weapon for them, like where it's like almost like a guaranteed win, like what we've seen with their rifles. So I definitely would like to see the statistics on that one day, but they've been very successful from a lot of the games that we've been able to commentate. But in a map like Nuke, it can definitely go a long way because a lot of the, ranges that you're going to be fighting are so close. So it's not like a map like Dust to a Train where you're having a lot more distance. The outside is the only area where you're going to have those long range fights, but the CTs do have the advantage of the close.
Even with that distance, so yeah, you've got a little bit more damage than the average gun on the Deagle. They're one of the highest damage pistols in the game, and good angles, yeah, mostly close here from Counter Nature. So a practice strategy, and if they're able to execute on it, it'd be even better. Not able to for the CT player. Goat coming in, he's the GOAT so far yet again. 2 frags, AK sprays galore, and only 2 Ds left is on Cycle and Spermy.
Leaving it just down to the 2, so they're actually going to be grouped up. They're going to play together. Going to see what they can make work, but there's 5 members of Absolute Leverage, and they actually do run the clock pretty low. They managed to get the plant down with no contention, but at this kind of a point, I mean, Counter Nature, what they want to do is just try to pick up any weapons that they can, so they are kind of doing a bit of a crossfire on the ramp, and this is a good setup, but it will be interesting to see if SoulGoat is going to actually spot this. He might have to be the sacrificial goat in this situation to get that information for his team.
So difficult to play against a team like Absolute Leverage. They're not giving anything at all away. Talk about that. 2 Ds coming in from Spurby. So good. And wow, excuse me, Psycho, pardon. And good crossfire either way. So Deagles not able to get every frag in the server, but 3 players are removed and they didn't have an ounce of anything else. So that's a pretty efficient round considering.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Coach, because, I mean, we look at the economy aside for Absolute Leverage. I mean, they don't have as much money as you think they would, considering they have a 4-win streak so far. But that triple kill from Spermy, it definitely damages them a little bit more, because if they can pick up a win, it puts Absolute Leverage in the back a little bit that they might need to go for a save.
Be on the save, do they? From Beak coming in. Nice to see an entry from Counter Nature, so putting it to the 5 versus 4. So question is, are they going to be able to kind of keep that anchor and block them out of sight. They've been so fast, and it's going to work out here. Psycho, he's mental. He's getting the up wall bang through the glass, and it's going to put it to the 5-on-3. So no up in the hands of Absolute Leverage. They've got outside control somewhat, though. Little do they know, and it's a 5 versus 3.
Yeah, the 5 versus 3 situation, Xander just going to be on the opposite side of Vent. So just kind of post it up. So this is a good spot to be in, and he actually wins that exchange. He's trying to go for more, but Icy able to pick it up. Another one. Psycho solidifies that first round.
Big old nice. You'll hear that yelled throughout the ventrilo, throughout the Discord, wherever they are lurking with their voices. And talking of money, it's in the can for Absolute Leverage. 1 round, and that they've lost, I should say, and they've got a Tech 9, and that's it. 2 Tech 9s.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of saying. Like, I mean, the fact that Counter Nature, you know, was depleting the economy and taking down 3 members or 2 members previously, it does do the damage. It doesn't give you those rounds, but it gives you that opportunity to be there. And Xander somehow picking up one, and he's just becoming a little bit of a problem for Absolute Leverage.
Machine, and the spray done continuing from Saturday. He's going to pick up another, so really well done from him. He's a turret.
Yeah, he's just a complete turret. Locked in. Takes them all down, and now it's just down to Sway. The bomb is planted, so they've done what they need to do. They get the bomb money, but now in this kind of a situation, he has a Glock. He doesn't have any armor. But Counter Nature, they want to play this a bit more composed together just to make sure they don't lose anymore, and Xander picks up the triple. And Counter Nature, they bounce back in round number 6.
Oh, baby, a treble. Hype begins, and hopefully the hype train along with the win train for Counter Nature. The pool's coming up most likely from Absolute Leverage. They're probably speaking some words of, oh, this is the Counter Nature that we've seen on the stat board, and it's coming to fruition. So what strategy is going to outplay Counter Nature? What would be the words of wisdom you'd speak right now, Les, to Absolute Leverage? What would you be saying?
I think one of the big things that we've seen that's been successful is the fact that they're putting a lot of pressure on them. So when they play a bit slow, so far what we notice is Counter Nature, they seem to get back into that rhythm and their comfortability. But when the pressure is really hitting them, and that's where we've seen them kind of fall. It could be the early game jitters. It could be a lot of reasons, but Absolute Leverage, I'm wondering if they're going to be anticipating a bit more of an aggressive play this round to see if they can get that early map control.
I reckon so, man. That's literally it. It's the key to the wins they've had from those 4 in the bag, and they were coming out hot. They were continuing overwhelming Counter Nature of those sort of 2 versus 1s, trading in, and wham bam, thank you, man, you're off to the races. But they haven't continued since we've had some aggression from Counter Nature. We'll see what happens though when it's going to come to a head. The bomb is going to go down in what is still a 5 versus 5, and not too much to speak of yet. Bit of damage, but that's about it.
Yeah, like not a lot of it exchanges, and you can already see that Absolute Leverage, like they get the site for free. So Counter Nature, what they're actually doing is just completely doing a retake. But Xander, he's going to be that first point of contact, and this is good trigger discipline, but now he goes for the spray, but he's only able to get 1. But now the CTs are completely swarming in as fast as they can, but they're falling apart, and that is going to be it in Absolute Leverage. That's a big cleaver in the hands of Counter Nature, as that's going to be a big round for the T's.
That is humongous. Oh, for timeout as well. So knowing that your timeout was bang on, you called, okay, guys, a bit more aggression. You called it as well, lads. Kudos to you. Coach Lies in the corner here. And just silently creeping up on us. It's 5-2 Counter Nature. Still got a buy, though. They still have an op as well. But that's going to be for the sacrifice. An MP9 in the hands of Icy. So do you count that as a weapon? is that a weapon?
I think you could, honestly. Like an MP9 on like a map like Nuke, it can do so much work. And I think we saw that before where Counter Nature played Orion, and I think it actually might have been Icy that was pushing outside and winning exchanges, like when people are on Twinkie, things like that. Just absolutely ridiculous exchanges that shouldn't even be a thing, but it was. And Counter Nature made it completely doable.
I think you're right, Les. Yeah, just sorry to drop there. It was a 3K. I think a 3K or a 4K drive-by. I remember is discussing and yelling over that one. So if we see that continue, hey, the more the merrier. The more MP9s. Bring 4.
But it will be an outside execute, so it is going to be Psycho that is going to be the one to find the first connecting. But the smokes are here, the landing, so going to be blocking his vision. Going to have to fall back, so what these smokes are going to do is they allow so much control, and they maintain this real estate for free without even finding a CT. But now Psycho able to get this easy frag, and fruitful picking so far. And time's running out for Absolute Leverage.
Really, really is. They can hear the clock arms just tick-tocking away, and they're running down secret. At this point, it's not a secret that Molly just causing way too much damage for this late in a round. It's 24 seconds, and surely Beak heard that.
Yeah, and Beaky Wow's in a really good spot, but actually just making a bit of
Oh.
damage. But that nade, it actually misses. It does a bit of damage, but it's just not able to pick up the frag. And Spermy, he needed to stay alive. And Icy, he needs to get the spray, and he's able to get the bomb down. So now the CTs, all they have to do is stay alive. And this is the round for Counter Nature. The big play from Beaky. The fact that he was able to pick that double kill with the bomb at that time, that was the big difference maker.
Oh, Beaky off the top rope, coming in, man. Not with a suplex and super massive stuff. 2 frags and the spray down. The timing could not have been more perfect, and you saw the panic in Absolute Leverage's eyes, like, uh-oh, this isn't gonna work. This isn't happening.
Yeah, and that's kind of the one difficulties about when you run the clock so low, is that the littlest thing can make the biggest difference like that. So I mean, even just the fact that Beaky was able to get the bomb down, it just pretty much put the nail in the coffin that they had no hope in getting this. But now Counter Nature responding back. It will be another bit of a dicey buy from the Absolute Leverage squad. Gonna see if they can contest on ramp, and that's gonna be Icy, the one player to hold things down. And he's playing a different angle, so he's not able to retreat as easily. So spots them, gonna be throwing the quick Molotov. Now they are able to retain this ramp control. But the question will be if they want to contest more, if they want to push heaven. But now they're trying to, but Beaky only picking up 1, leaving it just down to Psycho. He has the op, but he's not able to make the shot and sway. He sways his way to the connection, coach.
That is sick, and Sway does have an ace under his belt so far this season. This team that we're seeing here from Absolute Leverage, I'm really, really impressed, lads. This is not the kind of team I was expecting. With those stats, they are throwing the stats in the garbage and saying we were writing the script, doing so well today, and it's 4 versus 3 here. Counter Nature, this could be a difficult retake.
Yeah, not the easiest retake situation. I mean, you could see that Spermy took so much damage. And both Xander and Icy, they realized that it's just not worth the investment. I mean, even look at their money. Their money situation is completely in the dumps. So not a lot for them to work with. So instead, they're going to save the 3 rifles, try to transition that into this next round. But that's, you know, kind of the thing I was mentioning was when they put the pressure on, that's where we're noticing Counter Nature just not able to reply back.
Wiser words could not have been said, Laz, and the scoreboard's reflecting it. Another one on the tally for Absolute Leverage, up from the 5 and 6. They'll be surviving, kicking through, and we talked about a sketchy buy. I have had so many moments in this game to the point where it's teaching me to shut my mouth and observe a little bit more and pretend I'm an observer, because they've been proving my thoughts wrong before the words get off the tip of the tongue. It's been super stuffy from Absolute Leverage. The speed and velocity that they're taking these rounds with, there's not much you can do when someone comes at you that fast, especially in 2 versus 1. Look at that! Look at this aggression!
Yeah, the fact that they can just run in like that, it's just been the biggest issue for Counter Nature. They just don't seem to have that reply. And you could see even Spermy, he was trying to be on the backside of the wall, but he was completely blind. And now Icy trying to be the hero that they need, but he just falls down in Absolute Leverage. They're on round 7. And this is looking, you know, a little bit, I'd be a little bit worried if I was Counter Nature. I mean, we could potentially see a timeout, but I mean, they're still feeling it, so we don't see it yet.
I literally just sat back in my chair because I'm not on the side of Counter Nature. I feel like I've followed them enough this season to know how they feel a little bit and feel a bit of the vibes. And yeah, it's Salt. It's maximum levels of Salt right now. This is crazy, and it's not the Counter Nature are playing bad. It's the Absolute Leverage are playing phenomenally. These pushes, they're like ESL plays. It's mental.
Yeah, they're definitely making, you know, a lot of really good plays and really just completely out-fragging the CT squad of Counter Nature. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, still plenty of rounds to go. But we do have the T's trying to get that control. But Xander able to reply back with a nice 1D onto Kyle. But now it is just down to 2. Unless we can see the unthinkable. And Icy putting the icing on the cake as he's able to take down Sway. So making this the 2-on-3, coach.
It's doable, isn't it? With the frags that we've seen out of Counter Nature so far this season. 1 is essential to pitch the 2 versus 2 to make this doable, though. I don't know if it's going to be able to be a 3 versus 1. Strange things have happened, though. 1. Can we get a 2?
Yeah, this timing from Icy was so perfect. And now Psycho, he actually lands the P250 shot. This is a completely winnable situation. You can see Matt gonna be so low, and that flash actually blinds him, and Psycho wins the duel. How does that happen? And I said it from time and time again. Never count out Counter Nature with pistols. I said it was a big task, but they completely delivered.
What was that? He picks up a P2000. I'm like, are you serious, Psycho? You're a mentor. He's a psycho. He is. He's an animal. And just chomping off the head of his opponent with that P2000. I can't believe that worked. I really can't. That's the weirdest play I think I've seen so far in advance this season. Goodness.
I can't, you think there's a situation that's just completely unwinnable, and it's just not a good position, but it just goes the other way. I mean, Counter Nature, they've shown us so many times, like, you can just never count them out. They have the pistols, and they can definitely make a bit of a statement and make us eat our own words.
They are, and Humble Pie will eat that with joy. A bit of team damage coming early as well on the side of Absolute Leverage. Maybe some tilt is beginning, but enough of that. It's 3 versus 2. 2 players left for Leverage to kind of leave the things slightly in their direction. It's only an ump here, though, for Solgo. Maxwell with the AK, bomb down at best. I don't really see this being a conversion.
Yeah, it's going to be all about the one-on-ones, and you can see Max actually trying to get that exchange and does pick up the first, so that's actually a really good play. But now he's completely stuck himself in a corner, but he looks at the wrong time, and Psycho able to pick up a quad kill that round with the AWP.
Another quad thrown onto the stat board. Psycho say, yeah, I take those and I eat those for breakfast. Yes, please and thanks. You get up in his hands, and he is snacking away. 7-5, Counter Nature. It seems like they've found their stride, isn't it?
It seems like they're making a bit of a climb, and now Absolute Leverage, they're going to be on the save once more. A little bit of utility to work with, so really for this kind of a round, they might just try to go for a bit of a force down the vents and get the bomb down. And that's exactly what they're going to do. You can see Sway's already got the bomb, already running out with the knife, trying to get in this lower site. His teammates are falling apart, but he should be able to get this bomb down just in enough time before the CTs are going to push him. And just like that, it is just down to the GOAT. One man and a Tech 9, but able to take down Xander. So in this kind of a situation, that's actually not a bad way to look at things.
Not bad at all. 7th rounds. Sorry, they've got 7 rounds and an M4 to boot. Not too shabby. This round will be leading to the half coming to an end very shortly, so a few more on the menu, and we'll be swapping things over to Counter Nature do on the aggress. But right now, Absolute Leverage, they've got to be feeling pretty happy. You've got 7 rounds as a T side on Nuke. Do you count that as a win? I think that's a half win.
Yeah, I would definitely count that as a half win in my personal opinion, because I think like on the T side, if you can get, that +5, I still think that can really be a huge benefit for you. I do think this map has definitely made its transition towards T side can be, really good, especially on the executes, but we'll have to wait and see. But Beaky actually spots the shoulder, and then what he's doing here is he's just trying to get that blockage. So now he's putting Absolute Leverage in a bit of a bind as they're not able to really just push through the smoke, but they're actually pinched, coach.
They're super pinched and grinded things to a halt here like a traffic jam on the highway on your way to work in rush hour. It's timing down to 1 minute and not too much occurring. A few horns are honked and it will be a few guns are fired off there. Xander doing very well today. 2 spray down, and it will be Smurby to follow suit as well. Great up shot here from Bolt. These plays, they're so fast.
Yeah, now this is the Counter Nature that we know. We're seeing them kind of wake up a little bit better. And I mean, the fact that Xander was just playing on the right side vent, able to pick up the double and just completely annihilate Absolute Leverage on their push. Those are the big differences as well. I mean, that can make, a bit of a cleaver in the plan as they're just not able to push through. But talking about that, we're going in the last round, number 15. So everything on the board. Who's going to be able to pull the 1 round? Bit of an advantage in this first half, coach.
Yeah, this has been a super entertaining game. The game that statistically, like, hey, yeah, it's going to be a Counter Nature stomp, but not if Maxwell's anything to do with it. I talked to Vinace. He's got 2 insta headshots that he blasts through ramp and through vendors. Lunchtime, and he is going to gobble down as many as he can. Look at his flank as well. So, Counter Nature, that might be all she wrote for their CT side.
Yeah, but they're on the 2-on-4 situation, and call it the counter or the caster's blessing or Caster's curse, but I can't even say it anymore. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, there's already a lot of damage, and Bolt should fall down to the HE. Spermie able to connect it, but will be caught with his pants down. Is now Beaky Wow gonna have to pull something absolutely big on this 1-on-3. We're gonna need a big miracle, and both players you can see on the left-hand side are actually gonna be waiting for him. But oh my goodness, the smoke! He's gonna be able to cross his way through.
That's the bridge, isn't it? That's the bridge across across the moat. If you can get this gates on though, one frag not going to be able to finish the massive meal that was in front of him, and it's going to be 8-7. Absolute leverage finishing that one in the lead. So for their T side, I'm taking some notes. There were some really, really good plays in that timeout. They changed their tempo immediately after that. I don't know what the IGL said on the side of leverage, but some wise words.
Yeah, definitely, you know, could have been the motivational speech, you know, Coach Carter moment. I have no idea. Or just a little bit of a small timeout. Like, you know what, boys, let's take a breath. Let's figure things out. But either way, like you said, I think you completely nailed it on the head, is that timeout was, you know, really just changed the way that Counter Nature played that half. Because absolute leverage, they looked like they weren't going to be stopping, but a whole new team kind of came out of that timeout.
It did, and you love to see it, and that shows you that there's some work going on behind the scenes, and not just talking about admin work and organising the games. I'm talking making the teamwork really, really happen, and knowing what gets your team motivated, what a player plays best if they're good for that entry. Maybe they're an up switch into that rather and say it's not your game. Those are the things that you aren't going to always think of as a spectator. Oh, click the heads, bro. No, it goes deeper than that. And these players here, they're at that level where it's sort of the tipping point, isn't it? Where you're trying to prove yourself, get a bit of a name behind who you are, and get some frag reels and so.
Well, we're just a matter of time before we get things started off in this second half. Still waiting things out. For anybody just tuning in, we saw that absolute leverage were able to pull through a bit of a squeaky advantage with the 8-7. Still waiting things to go. But a very phenomenal first half, and I definitely agree with you, Coach. I've been very excited, and we're definitely seeing the match that we were anticipating.
Yeah, this is super stuff. And with Nuke so far in the season for Counter Nature, nothing but entertaining games. So for a team that knows how to entertain for that CT side and the T side, hopefully to come here for Counter Nature, we've seen some really, really good executes from them in the previous ones. So my expectations are high. Let's put it at that.
Now we're here. The restarts are coming through. Second half of the ESEA match. Counter Nature versus Absolute Leverage. But as I get a little bit fired up about the second half, boom, pause. We're going to be waiting again, Coach.
Isn't that it? You're like, woo, I'm ready. I'm here. I'm checked into this second half. But the players are not. Someone's tying their shoelace, drinking their G Fuel, whatever it is. Talking to G Fuel, that's why I'm so pumped right now, lads. I got G Fuel the other day. They just started shipping to Canada. Dude, it's sick. I've got this watermelon G Fuel. It's so good.
Oh boy. I noticed it in the pregame talk that you were like chugging something. I'm like, huh. He's got something new. I don't know what it is. And I was just waiting for you to slip it into the game. You know, hey guys, brought to you by G Fuel. Use my discount code, the coach 101 for 10%
off. Yeah. Unfortunately, not that far yet. Maybe something to come. And the perfect plug for an MDL. Just practicing here for the MDL matches that we're going to see. But this isn't MDL. This is advanced, and these teams try to work their way towards that. And hopefully, they've had their G Fuel. These players come out the gate, Psycho and Beak. Wowing the opponents. They're out the server. It's 4-on-3.
Yeah, and they're already getting this lower site control, and Bolt's actually trying to make the contention, but Xander shuts that plan down right away. So now just leaving it down to Solgoat, and we'll be macked. The two players are going to have to come up big against three Counter Nature players. The smoke's blocking the door, but they're going to actually close it. So they only have the kit in the hands of Goat, but they're going to try to see if he can win this exchange. Spurby falls, but now they're trying to see if they can be a bit of a distraction with the door. Trying to come through both ends, but now it's looking like a bit of an issue as Xander's not able to make these shots. And now Psycho's gonna have to come up absolutely big. Things have completely churned. Picks up one. Can he pick up the second? It's ring around the rosy, but it won't matter as Mac gets this frag.
He's got a kit though. This is
he's
fine.
Gonna get it.
Get this.
And he gets it in absolute leverage. Squeaky round and pull it through again.
That was high octane, and that pause was all worth it. A 4K from Bolt, that was a shock dart in the side of Counter Nature. And it's going to be 9-7, so they've won pistol on both sides, for T side and CT side. That's a kick in the loins if you're Counter Nature.
Yeah, it was completely in Counter Nature's favor. I mean, you saw they had the man advantage. They looked pretty good. And then all of a sudden, it just falls apart like a thing of dominoes. And now, absolute leverage. They have the better weapons, and they're going to be posted up on ramp, and Counter Nature going to see if they can try to get through and get the control. But Mac actually missing these shots, but finally able to pick up the one, but this is looking a bit dicey, and he's going to have to fall out of here, Coach.
He's out of there and bat out of hell, and off he goes. Support is on the way, and the cavalry able to take out the tangos. Counter Nature removed. It's going to be 5-on-5 back to the server. He's seen up early on too, so Psycho, he's not messing around. He feels that there's some tough opposition. On the other hand, though, Leverage, their guns, they're still in circus mode. They've got the XM10, they've got the MP9, the ARM FAMAS. They're still in the bonus.
You can never count out the XM. It is probably one of the best guns, I swear. It is so dangerous on a map like Nuke. And it can definitely make a big stoppage on any kind of push. But we'll have to wait and see if we can see if SoulGoat will be able to land those shots. But like you said, Psycho actually going to be having the AWP out, so he's getting ready for the smoke lineup. You can see flying through the screen, so this is going to be that wall, and now this allows them to get that outside control.
Of choice, I thought Psycho was heading towards ramp. I think he's going to be checking out Twinkie. The old school call out. Oh no, that's not going to be a good start there. 2-3 for Bolt. He's going for the 4K. He's got the triple feed. Psycho finally able to return on that. And that's a 3-for-1 trade. That is not good at all. And talking to MP9s, I take it all back, Sway. There's one play left in the server, and it's all going to be on Xander. So melting outside, and how can you expect that many players to be close up? You just won't.
And this is kind of the one thing you get a little bit of a man advantage. You start to play a little bit careless, and that's actually losing 2, making it 3. And Kyle, one of the silent players this game, he pulls up the big frag that he needed, keeping them alive by only 1 player. That was looking a bit dangerous as Xander. He looked like he was coming for blood.
He was, and he was taking names. 3 really big fraggers on the side of Counter Nature, looking side of Psycho and Beacon Xander. Great to see something from Icy and Spare Me. If they were to bring that A game, they're at the B game right now, just make it an A or an A+, I think we can see a win here. A bit more individual performance is needed right now as Leverage. They're bringing it all.
Yeah, and you can see Counter Nature, they actually do have to go for the save, so they don't really have much to put into this round. And they actually will be grouping up towards lobby, so a bit of a lobby push that they will try to do, maybe going for the inside. That's going to be Spermy that actually does have the bomb, so he's going to be throwing the Molotov, and that's going to be landing just inside. You can see the nades are coming in, so now the T's are swarming the site, but Kyle just able to clean house with 2 more. Seem to be waking up a little bit longer, and now Counter Nature, they're going to hightail to this plan and make their way towards ramp, Coach.
Tech9, Rec9's only able to snag one. So much damage dealt there onto Goat, but enough for the Tech9 to really do the force it needs. I'm not too sure. Fear HP, the bomb in hand, and that flick not landing from the up lightning Bolt's hands. So 11-7. This is the time where I think you sort of bleed on the clock a little bit if you Counter Nature. Get some time to think for your team, sort of perhaps treat like the timeout. Not going to be the case here though. So the buy, is this the moment of truth, Counter Nature?
Yeah, this could be the big round that they absolutely need. And I like that point you made, Coach. I mean, you can use that as an opportunity for your team to go over any information. Talk in game, kind of figure out, okay, this is what we're going to do. You kind of use it as an opportunity, as a mini timeout, like you said, but it didn't look like that was going to be the plan. As you can see, that Bolt was actually the fadeaway USP to kind of end that round a little bit quicker than we thought, but a big round for Counter Nature. 12-7, and now they put the full investment. And if they can pick this up, this makes them still the contender.
Definitely does. And something worth a jot down. We do not see an up in the hands of Counter Nature. Commonly, you're seeing Psycho with the up in, no matter the defensive, the attacking situation. He's on T side. He tried a couple of plays and it wasn't working. So with no up in hand, I'm expecting that quick play that was super effective for absolute leverage. But the question is, where's it going to be?
So they're actually going to be putting Bolt on the ramp, so he's not even going to be trying to put the AWP outside. So he's going to be changing things up, and we're not really having a lot of presence from the CT side, and they're completely giving up this control. So they're allowing Counter Nature to have it, but Bolt going to be deciding to play inside of the locker room now. But the smoke's going to be landing there. That's going to be the wall. And the Counter Nature, they're going to get that secret control for absolutely free.
And that's well deserved. But talking of a freebie, Sway looks like the bait and switch. He's holding off this angle. He's able to land one of these frags. He's got an option. It's like whack-a-mole for him if he's able. Oh, he's left the angle. So Xander sneaking a bit by.
Yeah, so what he's trying to do is he's actually just trying to stay alive. He didn't want to, go for that big duel. But look at that Soul Goat just able to catch Icy at the right time. But now Beaky going to be able to pick up another with Spermy. So they get this lower sight, and Beaky able to pick up another frag. The element of surprise pans out, and now absolute leverage. They're going to have to make something work, but now it's just down to Bolt. We've seen him do work with this op, but surely he can't pull a 1-on-4.
I do not believe he's going to get in for this one. Checkmated perhaps. Maybe one exit and damaged. Oh, he's going to have the one exit. So, oh, he's landed the second one as well with a spicy little flickeroony. Truthfully, though, you've been lit. You've got your 2 exits. I'm going to take that doggy bag to go. I'll see you later.
And the one thing to note, too, I mean, you see Counter Nature, they were actually going for a bit of a hunt, and it was kind of peaking in the one-on-one moment, but they don't have a lot of money, so them even losing those 2 members, that's going to really affect their buying into these further rounds.
Talking of that, though, they got the op, so they're able to exchange, but that's 3 players for 1 op. Is that worth it? The vote starts now. Chuck it in chat. Is 3 players worth an op? Depends who's shooting the op, I guess the next question is, but that could go down a massive rabbit hole. 12-8 it is. Counter Nature able to get back on the scoreboard, lads.
Yeah, that was we were talking the importance of that timeout and how much they needed to pick up that round. And you can see absolute leverage. They've been able to pick up 4 in a row, and now they have to save. They have no weapons. We haven't seen them do a lot of damage with pistols yet, but I guess this will be the moment to see if that's going to happen.
We really have seen Diddley squat Jack from the side of leverage with the pistol. Talking of that, one deagle to follow through. Max was like, hey, I can deagle. Don't talk about me like that. 4 versus 3, and we do have the 1 AK in the greasy midst of leverage. So it's going to be for Maxwell. But they're going downstairs, so this is super smart play here from Counter Nature. Not pressing the issue at all. The spray down, pretty successful there from Spermy, and players are just streaming through Squeaky.
Yeah, they're completely swarming the site on completely different angles, and you can actually see, I believe that was Maxwell that actually did have the AK, but no armor, and then the aim punch just completely threw off the aim. So he had the right idea, the right angle, but I'm not sure who it was, if it was Xander or not, but they were able to just completely throw off his aim with the shots onto him.
Oh, the MVP weapons in the server, the XM10, XM1014.
We're only watching him. We're only watching him this round. If Counter Nature go inside, I would not be surprised if this guy just drops like a crazy 4K, but I think Counter Nature know a little bit better.
Don't put it past him. We did see the quick up peek there outside from Bolt. He's been flip-flopping around going from your ramp to outside, and that makes it extremely difficult to get a read on where he is. So pulse check 1-2. Where's he gone? He's disappeared. All of a sudden he's back outside the warehouse. Removing Xander from the server. He's been a strong fragger too, so it's a bit shaky for Counter.
I do like the setup that Absolute Leverage have. I mean, the fact that they're playing 1 in Garage, they have Stolgo trying to be a bit of a distraction through the secret, and now Counter Nature, they've lost 2 more members, but they're in the inner site, but now it's just down to Icy. He does have the bomb, but he's against 4 more, so this is going to have to be an ace clutch for him. But now the CTs, they could easily just swarm this and peek at the same time. And you can see the flashes are coming through, but he's just not able to make it land. And Absolute Leverage pull up another big round for them, 13-9.
13-9. AK's pretty much the only option for Counter. To light, you do see 6K in the hands of Psycho. So designated upper, he's gonna throw it out to the lads and the ladies. The op is in the server yet again for him, and I say that with such hype. He's a fantastic upper. So if he's able to compete with Bolt and maybe put it to him, this could be their game. But I do think it's going to take an op flex someone to come back from counter nature. They're just missing that sting right now. I'm not too sure what it is, but they're missing that sting.
Yeah, we definitely haven't seen counter nature kind of, with a full confidence that we know when they take these sites. It almost looks like a little bit of hesitation or some kind of confusion on where to go. But that flash actually just going to be missing, so it will be Maxwell to be posted up behind the red box. Just going to be the Lone Ranger. He's going to have to make some kind of a play, but he sprays, picks up one. Almost able to get the upper, but able to pick up one more before he falls, and Spermy shuts him down. But now the CTs, they're getting repositioned into the lower site, coach.
He hits that. How does he hit that at all? Bowl. What a beast this game. Just hitting things that you wouldn't believe to hit in a million years. He's hitting them. It puts it to a 3 versus 2. Counter nature, making the right plays, the right counter flashes. They're doing everything correct. Be beaten down after those plays. It's really, really disappointing. So props where props are due, Laz. I don't write this off as counter nature. You're not having a good game. Leverage. What did they drink or eat today? Something special.
Oh no, and the wrong read, but Psycho lands the shot somehow, but then gets responded back. But that was actually a bit of a dicey play because you saw absolute leverage. They actually had 2 members in the lower site. So counter nature, they thought they could be sneaky and go through the vents, but bit of a misread. And now 14-9, and counter nature, they just don't have any funds. They might need to play for the overtime.
Yeah, they're bleeding dry right now. 2K kept for the most part, and they're going for that last hoorah and for that potential 15-15. But goodness gracious, Beaky taking a little peeky through Squeaky. Headshot, boom. Just the one tap, that's all that was needed. And that's a really, really good start to a round like this. Anything goes, I think.
Yeah, Deagles are out. You know what? All the Cowboys are ready to play on the counter nature squad. And we see it. Yeah, yeehaw, Cowboy. We're ready to throw the Deagles around. And we already see it. Beaky so early on in the round. I think it's not even 10 seconds in, and he's just able to throw a 1D and giving them that slight man advantage. But they don't have any utility, so now they're just going to be relying solely on their fragging abilities.
With plays like that coming through from Bolt and the Op, oh, there's Carl too. Op versus Deagle, not looking so bright right now. Maybe a flicker of light if a couple of 1Ds can be thrown across the surface. Going to be a big Psycho though. This positioning, this could be deadly.
They both are actually going to be peeking heaven. So now, Spermy, they might not expect him to be right behind, but Kyle, you can see he's posted up. He's ready to go, and Spermy not able to make the connections. An absolute leverage. They put themselves a match point. Match pause is going to be coming through, which I definitely thought was going to be happening. It should have happened a little bit earlier, but now counter nature. One last chance to figure out if they can make this comeback. They have the money. They have plenty to go for an op if they wish. We'll have to wait and see.
To nature, so many good frag reels this game. And I know that's not something you're looking for if you're the teammate themselves, but they have put it to leverage today, and they deserve at least double figures. So a couple from counter nature, I think would be a fittable score. They're going for the draw, though. They want to take this all the way to the double overtime, the single overtime, whatever they can grasp right now. 15-9. It's a tall glass.
The biggest glass you can think of, and it's right now. 15-9 counter nature. They need to pull every single round back to making this to overtime. And they starting things already good, and Bolt already being the menaces. He's able to pick up 2, and Icy responds back, making this the 3-on-3. And the frags are just completely going back and forth, but Soulgoat, he has the back. He's able to get the spray, leaving it just down to Psycho. He's only alive with 4 HP, 1 versus 3. And this might be it. The wind is completely out of counter nature's sails. The win streak all on the line. Psycho, he's gonna have to come alive.
4 HP is not going to cut the mustard. That will be it for that one there for counter nature. Falling short slightly there to the hands of leverage. And I am shocked. That's a team that, on paper, they did not look like they were going to bring too much in maybe a couple of rounds. But for strategy and aim, they brought it all to the table today, Laz.
They really did. And I mean, we were giving a ton of props. I mean, Counter Nature, they were on a huge win streak. So a little bit more pressure. I'm not sure if that's the case here today, but we saw that absolute leverage. I mean, they played phenomenal. I mean, they looked like they were on point. A few bit of interesting peaks and things like that, but just not the not Counter Nature's night. But you know what? Take it and learn it from that experience.
And couldn't have said it better myself, boss. And with that in mind, you look at Nuke as a map for Counter Nature. I don't think it's a map they have issues with overall in the spectrum of what we've seen so far. But you see a game like that, sometimes that could be a blessing to get that as such like, okay, we've been in really well, but maybe we've got a few more ways we could work on some plays. Maybe need some more counter flashes, smokes. What happens if that play doesn't work out? So take that back to the drawing board, and I think they're going to be going in the right direction if they can do a bit of analysis of that.
No, I would definitely agree, but that will be it tonight. We are just doing the one match as we've had a very busy week ahead of us with a lot of other commentating. But thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Counter Nature, for allowing us to have the opportunity to cast you guys once more. We always enjoyed it. Unfortunately, it didn't go your way, but still plenty of time to make that comeback once more.
Better luck next time, lads. And until then, have a great night, Coach 101. I'm out.
Take care, guys.